Legendary Argentinian Carlos Monzon defending his world middleweight title against Rodrigo Valdes of Colombia for the second time. For the outstanding Monzon, one of the true greats, fittingly, the glamorous backdrop of Monaco as he entered the ring. This was the 100th bout of Monzon's illustrious professional career. Escopeta with 86 wins to his name, 59 via knockout and only 3 defeats. In their unification contest a year previously, Valdez had pushed Monzon all the way, but was ultimately defeated on points. So would the rematch be revenge for Valdez or a repeat for Monzon?
Well, there shouldn't be any need for a reconnaissance with these two. They know each other pretty well. They fought a hard 15 rounds in this ring of June last year, and that was to really settle the World Championship because the WBC took the title away from Monzon for not towing the line, rather in the same fashion as they did with John Conti. And Valdez held the championship for a while, but Monzon showed what a good champion he was, although he always held the WBA title as well, came back and won on points. But Monzon hasn't fought since then. He's bound to be showing a bit of ring rust there, a bit of reflex slowing, I'm sure, whereas Valdez has won a few decisions since then. In fact, Valdez has only lost 1 decision in the last 7 years, and that was to Monzon. So what a record these two bring into the ring. And the referee staying away from trouble there, it seems, doesn't it, is Roland Dakin, the publican from Bracklesham Bay on the south coast. You'll notice how the tall Monzon there allows Valdez always to come to him and very seldom waste punches. That shows his greatness, I think. He makes them all count. At 35, I dare say, carrying a bit of lead in those legs of his, and 13 months out of action, needs a few rounds to get his sharpness, but he's got off pretty well with that long left hand. That's his strength, the way he can jab that out and stay out of trouble, pulls his head back. Valdez, a good bustling fighter, tries to take Monzon out of his stride. He thought he did enough to win the last contest, so there's quite a bit of needle between these two. But I also suspect a bit of professionals' respect. Wearing these rather unusual yellow gloves, looks as though they're almost pelting each other with snowballs that have been dyed. Monzon uses his reach the whole time, not very much of a short puncher. I think that's probably why he's lasted so long. When you've had 100 fights, you know something about this business, and he keeps his opponents at arm's length. Coming out a little bit too early for play. Round 2, scheduled of course for 15 rounds, a championship contest, universally recognized for the middleweight championship. That's 11 stone 6 pounds. So this Argentine Monzon there may not have the style of, say, Sugar Ray Robinson, and he often looks ungainly, but believe me, he gets the job done. Because he's very arrogant, very brave, a bit spiteful, and he doesn't waste many punches. He really does hurt with every punch he throws there, Monzon. One of those throwback pugilists who would have clobbered his share back in the bare knuckle days. The kind of guy that you'd want if you're at your side if there was any trouble. I like the way Valdez is trying to take the fight to the champion the whole time. He knows he's got to put some pace here, try and tire him out. And he's getting through well in round 2. Well, if it was a photo finish last time, Valdez is hoping to do enough this time to catch the referee and judge's eyes. All three vote. All appointed by the World Boxing Council. Oh, and a good right hand there. He just waited for Monzon's left lead. He tucked his head inside it and caught him with a right hand. That was a good punch from Valdez. Monzon not getting out of the way enough from these now. He's leaning into them a bit. I think Valdez can afford to become a bit right hand happy there. Well, there's nothing pulled here. Those punches are really sinking in. All delivered with a knuckle part. Hard punches. Oh, that's the first time that Monzon has touched down since 1963, and he's even debating that with Roland Dakin. But the referee's quite right, giving him the mandatory 8 count. Well, that really is an event with this fellow, the tough guy of the ring, touching down. Can Valdez finish him? Can he really pile it in? He's a bit too wily, though, that Monzon. He'll hang on, he'll waltz him around. There he is, see, hanging on there. It's against the rules, but you can't blame a fighter for doing that when he's hurt. So into round 3 then. And Valdez has the advantage now, having knocked the ring's Iron Man down for that count there. That really must have bucked him up. But he's also looking a bit puffed around the eyes because those long left jabs are doing their job there. They're hurting Valdez. As I said, he's not too much of an eye-catching fighter, this Monzon, unless you happen to be the guy on the end of that left hand. And the right-hand punches that he usually brings into play, they hurt too. He tends to headhunt a little bit. He doesn't throw too many to the body. Both connecting there. The cornermen are getting a bit concerned about the heads going in. I don't think it's really deliberate. They're leaning rather heavily, to say the least, at one another close in, and there's bound to be some cuts. Oh, that was a good sidestep by the Matador there, and he's perfectly in order to pile those punches back in again. He showed a bit more mercy than he normally does there, Monzon, because he really can be spiteful when it suits him. But if he really intends to go out with this fight, he probably wants to go out looking the sportsman as well, because he's already made up his mind he wants to go into film acting, and he's already done some parts. I think the champion's taking the play away from Valdez a bit now in the round. He's let him know that it might have been a fluke, that knockdown, and he's normally got the strongest chin in the world, Monzon. That's what's kept him at the top so long. Big heart and strong chin, and a lot of power in those punches. Keeps point scoring with that left hand, and not only point scoring, but hurting Valdez. Obviously, Valdez will throw that right hand for the whole fight if he can, because that, having got through once, it must encourage him to do it again. the end of round 3. Coming up now for round 9. I don't know why Valdez touched Monzon on the hands there. A little bit of professional respect for each other, I think. But the pace hasn't slackened at all. The tactics have been very similar, with Monzon there using the long left hand and the dark-skinned Valdez trying to come inside the punches the whole time. But he's finding that very difficult. Monzon obviously completely recovered from the knockdown in the second round. That's the first time that referee Dakin has had to touch them. They usually been very good on his break calls, and it's always good if a referee doesn't get in there and have to manhandle the fighters. A lot of arguments going in the corner there about rough head work. That's where the cuts usually come from. You can just spot that cut on Monzon's nose. It's quite deep, but the seconds have done a very good job there patching that up. And they're complaining about rabbit punches. Both fighters have done that. Well, if Monzon really is serious about getting out of this game, I should imagine he's made up his mind by now, because he knows that the longer you're in it, the harder it gets. Trouble is, when Monzon fights, it's often the opponent who wants to give up the game. Seems to take a lot out of the opposition, this fellow. When you shake hands with him, even with those heavy gloves on, believe me, they feel like bolts inside there. So Monzon getting really back on top in the 9th round. And I think Valdez must have heard me there, because he really piled back in again. Difficult one to sort out, this, for the referee and judges. Good accurate punching, not too, hardly any wasted really in the amount that are being thrown. Oh, and they're really putting them together in the 9th round. They'll do well to stay the course if they keep this up. We're into round 10. And the champion seconds having a rather hard job keeping that cut staunched over Monzon's nose. Valdez looking puffy around the face, obviously worsening each round. There you can see there the eyes are closing up a bit. It's amazing how much domination the South Americans seem to have on the fight game these days. But this is certainly Monzon's round. He's 35, but looking 21 at the moment, isn't he, Monzon? I think now you can judge why he's lasted so long. This is his 101st contest, and unbeaten in his last 80. Now, there was a little head clash there that can always cause damage. But Monzon doesn't care, because he's really riding high at this point. And I think the referee having a good look at Valdez there. If he went down, I think he's got a good chance of stopping him here, the champion. But no, the fellow's got a lot of guts, Valdez. He's bouncing back again. What a hard fight this is. I think this is what the old scribe used to say: no quarter, sought or ask. Well, if they stay, these two, they won't have much left for the last lap, I promise you. It's a steamy night in Monte Carlo, and they're really punching their hearts out here in this very hot ring. And this is Monzon at his best, non-stop hitting. But full marks to Valdez. He's taken them all and come back again. But this definitely puts Monzon ahead. So these are the rulers of the weight division that Britain has: Alan Minter as European champion and Kevin Finnegan as British champion. Into round 11. And the British referee making sure the cornermen are well out of the ring and asking them to keep a bit quiet. But they're all going a bit crazy here. There's a lot of atmosphere. The world champion Monzon definitely on top now. But can he stay the pace? Has he punched himself out a bit in that 10th round? At 30, Valdez has been around a bit. He's feeling the pace too, I should think. Well, when you watch a world championship like this, you really know what they mean by, yes, it's tough at the top. I'm always amazed how Monzon retains his desire when he's told everybody he wants to get out of the game and become a film actor. But I suppose there's a lot of pride, a lot of gladiatorial spirit in him, plus the fact that he's earning the pounds equivalent of about 300,000 for this fight. So it's not a bad night's work. Valdez also now got a bad cut over his left eye. And I shouldn't have thought that was caused by a head clash, and he's really throwing that right hand, and Valdez can barely miss it. Valdez cornermen are going to have a lot of problems with this one. It's a deep one. So that's leveled up the cuts in this fight. It's certainly as good as, if not better, than the last time they fought here 13 months ago. There it is. That's just give you a brief view of that injury there of Valdez over the left eye. But he's certainly got a lot of spring in his leg still. And I would think that the tactics are to try and really force the pace for the last part of this fight, hoping to get the favour of the judges there. Good flashy type of fighter, Valdez, isn't he? Very colourful, but the solid Monzon, well, he gets the job done. That's what this game's all about. So the 15th and final round then of this World Middleweight Championship. The tall Argentinian Carlos Monzon, for me, just on top against Rodrigo Valdes from Colombia. But what a hard slog it's been, and Monzon came off the floor in the second round. First time he'd been down, I think, since 1963. And he's come back well to make this a really glory night by the look of it to go out on. But he is a bit arm and leg weary at this stage. Well, certainly Valdez is giving it everything he's got. It looks as though he's winning this last round with sheer pressure, but has he done enough to win? And you see they're not breaking so quickly now. 15 hard rounds, almost 45 minutes slog with hard punches going. And this is why these fighters really have to train hard to get their bodies in shape. Well, he stayed the course pretty good at 35, Carlos Monzon. He isn't going out to any faded glory. Fighting against the clock there, Monzon. Knows how to tie up Valdez. That's what the name of this game is. So we're into the last minute then, presumably of Monzon's last fight. I don't think he'll change his mind. He's got enough money and he's defended against everybody and has nothing else to prove. But the heart does go out a bit to the challenger here because he hasn't been found wanting at any time. And they're really leaning on there, counting the seconds to get out of the fight. And Rodrigo Valdes possibly thinking that this last round could still win it for him. And that's it, it's all over. And they both think they've won it, don't they? Well, it's certainly, if it's a draw, the champion keeps his title anyway, so that'll be no good to Valdez. And the celebrations are all going over in Monzon's corner there. So they'll be a bit upset if he doesn't get the verdict. And there it is, Monzon retains the championship. Referee Dakin had him winning by 144 to 141 points. The German referee 147 to 144 and 145 to 143 from the Italian judge.
Another close one, but Monzon prevailing again in his 100th and final professional fight. As for Valdez, he got his due reward, regaining the world title in the following year before retiring in 1980. Truly classic stuff between two outstanding middleweight stars. We hope very much you've enjoyed it. Join us again here soon on BT Sport for more of the great exploits of boxing.